Hello, it's Ruby, and I have a cold. Usually with a cold, I would just get up and work as usual. But today I'm going to convalesce. Like a Victorian. I've been unwell. Not very unwell, but very, very faintly unwell. And whenever I am unwell, I think about the Victorians and the lost practice of convalescence. And I've always wanted to try it, and so today I thought I would. First step, according to Cassell, is breakfast in bed. In fact, this piece by Cassell frames breakfast in bed as something of a necessity. Unfortunately though, this is not appearing out of thin air. I did just have to get up and make it. The first thing though is finding a breakfast recipe. So I looked at this article, Cooking for Invalids, from the Girls' Own paper. There are lots of references to various types of meat tea. We must return, however, to our beef tea. And many of the recipes on the next page are made from meat. Now, I'm vegan, so I'm not interested in any of these, and the idea of beef tea sounds absolutely revolting. Instead, we're going to go for this recipe in the Girls' Own paper from 1880. It gives a recipe for gruel, which to me sounds much better. This is especially good because I really like porridge, and that follows a piece of advice given in the Girls' Own paper. Quote, "What is eaten with appetite and relish is likely to nourish far more than what is crammed down as a loathsome duty." So basically, you need to try and make something that they actually like to eat. Now, I was following this recipe, which I've put on the screen. Now, the recipe said to mix a tablespoon of grits or oatmeal to a paste with a little cold water, which I did. That is not much oat at all. And then the recipe says to add a pint of water or milk, so I'm going to do half milk, half water. To me, these ratios seem way off. But then again, to be fair, it does say at the top, cooling, refreshing and soothing drinks are so much wanted by invalids that I must mention one or two before closing. And so gruel is coming under drinks and liquids. I did get this pan down, but actually that's not going to be big enough considering how much liquid there is. It feels bizarre how little oat there is. And the final instruction is to boil the whole, gently stirring well for 10 minutes. The other famous recipe is toast water, and it sounds horrible. Now, toast water is one that keeps on coming up. Honestly, I'm not excited about this. So I've got my well-toasted toast, and I'm just going to put it in a jug, and then you have to pour boiling water over it. And then you simply have to leave this to stand until it's cool. So I will have this a bit later once it's had time to cool. I am also going to cheat and make myself just a normal slice of toast with something on it, because there is no way this is going to fill me up. I didn't quite grasp how little food it would actually be. And of course I've paired that with a cup of tea. The Girls' Own paper does recommend many beverages. Then I simply set up my breakfast tray, and I added some syrup on top of the porridge because the recipe says you can sweeten with sugar or treacle or season with salt and pepper, and obviously I didn't really want salt and pepper porridge. And that is how I found myself here with this Victorian convalescent breakfast. It's actually quite tasty.
Take your word for it.
You might be able to tell that it is very watery. As happened last time as well, because you make a paste, there are always little clumps of oat. Now, a large part of Victorian convalescence is simply resting. It's about not overexerting yourself. Convalescence is a slow process, as opposed to the kind of fast, speedy recovery that we wish on people today. Instead, it's very meandering, and it could last weeks or months or even a year. In her excellent book, Hosanna Krienke says that the Victorians, quote, viewed it as a category entirely distinct from both sickness and health. And one 1865 guidebook says, "A convalescent patient remains for some time in an intermediate state, neither ill nor yet quite well." It's all about removing the pressure for productivity. So one Victorian journalist writes of convalescence as, quote, "The sense of absolute repose is also, without doubt, an important factor in the work of recuperation." And so I'm going to try not to feel the pressure to do anything particularly this morning. This is actually really good as well. After breakfast, I took out my book and just sat there and read, which is one of the most glorious, luxurious things in the world. The guidebooks on convalescence very much advise people to stay in bed, which makes sense because people are very unwell. And when it comes to activities that you can do, light reading was actually sometimes prescribed as a cure. This surprised me because in the yellow wallpaper, of course, the main character is forbidden from writing and reading because it might overexcite her mind. And in particular, novels were often read during convalescence. Wait, this isn't a novel. These are essays. In one Victorian essay, Fiction and Its Uses, a journalist writes, "If one reads a novel at the end of each workday, your forehead would have cooled and your eyes cleared and your brain grown tranquil." And again, Hosanna Krienke explores how novel reading was seen as something which could cure illness. It starts, "You must go back with me to the autumn of 1827. My father, as you know, was a sort of gentleman farmer in Shire, and I, by his expressed desire, succeeded him in the same quiet occupation, not very willingly, for ambition urged me to higher aims, and self-conceit assured me that, in disregarding its voice, I was burying my talent in the earth and hiding my light under a bushel." I was reading The Tenant of Wildfell Hall by Anne Bronte, which is my personal favourite Victorian novel. It is excellent, and it's told partially through this diary, which is found by the main narrator. Another key aspect of Victorian convalescence was fresh air. And this was due to miasma theory, which was the predominant theory of disease before germ theory and wasn't kind of abandoned by science until the 1880s. And this is why windows would be left open in wards. Better even than an open window, though, is to actually go outside on a walk and get some fresh air. Miasma theory basically says that bad air is responsible for disease, and miasma is sometimes translated as pollution from the Greek. So according to miasma theory, it's really important for convalescents to have access to airy, light spaces to prevent the spread of disease. This is indeed why many people were sent away to the country or for sea air, which you often see in Victorian novels and hear about when you hear about the Victorians. I'm sure you've heard of the sea air prescription, and that was largely due to miasma theory. Did you know that over 300 convalescent homes opened in the Victorian period? These convalescent homes were institutions where people could be sent when they were unwell for months, or as they say, even a year. I'm going to leave the video here. This convalescent Victorian morning has been very relaxing, rather rejuvenating. The final thing I am going to do though is try the toast water, which has been left to cool in the kitchen. I'm not excited about this at all. It's just so bizarre. This has been steeping all morning and it looks horrible. The texture is like, ugh. So essentially you sieve the water and then you just drink the cloudy water. Ooh. I would be lying if I said that I've been looking forward to this today. Okay. It's actually really nice. Why is that nice? It like tastes slightly burnt because of the toastedness. It kind of tastes like a tea with rice in it, like that kind of popped taste. And the water tastes very smooth, like I'm surprised at how good that is. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope that you have more than just a productive week.
You wouldn't sleep with your glasses on.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't do right.
What about the toast?
Well,
No man's land.
The toast isn't technically part of the breakfast, it's just that I thought I'd be hungry if I just had a tablespoon of oats. That's what's in here.